Kylo Ren single-handedly kills a Zillo beast. Plus, we have Cere who's stuck in between two different sides on Onthotho. We also have a story about Baylor Valance and his war against Darth Vader. Plus, we have a story about Tallie Lintra, all in this week's episode of Star Wars Weekly. Hello fellow Star Wars fans, it is Starrapter, and every week you can expect me to talk about the comics, novels, TV series, video games, and more. This week is one of the biggest weeks for comics. We have 4 issues to talk about, so strap in, because this one's going to be quite jam-packed. So getting into it with the Marvel Comics first, we are talking about Star Wars Age of Resistance, Kylo Ren, issue number 1. This is called Out of the Shadow, but before I talk about the specific issue, this is the last issue for the Age of Maxi series of Star Wars comics. We start off with the Republic era prequels, then we had the original trilogy Rebellion. We are ending with the Resistance comics with Kylo Ren. So very much a milestone upon this experiment by Marvel. So let's dive into this last issue. I enjoyed the heck out of this one. We don't really learn a whole lot about Kylo Ren, but what this does allow us to do is look more into his character, what really drives him. We know he's very much connected to his grandfather, Darth Vader, and in this it's very clear that he is trying to be even better than Darth Vader. I will finish where I started, as he says into his helmet in The Force Awakens. So this is all about him on this planet that Vader failed to conquer. So Kylo Ren has now come back with the First Order after these indigenous peoples are said to have started to expand, and the First Order does not want these people to expand, thinking that there could be an uprising. So Kylo Ren goes to talk to the leaders. Doesn't go that well. He ends up just using his rage to just take out all these leaders. Then it spurns on this entire huge battle, and they are going at it. The First Order, they're walkers, they're TIE fighters against this indigenous people, which are pretty much giant type creatures. And well, they have their god that had been said to have been the thing that had destroyed Vader's army last time. Well, guess what? This beast is actually a Zillo beast, as seen in the Clone Wars. This is awesome. We're getting this callback to the Zillo beast. This is really awesome callback material continuity-wise. So we have Kylo Ren that does not run. What does he do? He's crazy. He jumps inside this thing's mouth, kills it from the inside out, and that is the story in a nutshell. So getting into this is just the entire dichotomy of the artwork between the Vader scenes and the Kylo Ren scenes. The way they piece it together in that, like, on top of each other layer is just brilliant. We see this old Imperial officer that is the person that is sort of advising Kylo Ren on what to do, because apparently this same soldier was the same soldier that was doing the very exact thing back in the days of the Empire with Vader. So this guy actually seen what Vader behaves like. He has seen what Kylo behaves like, which is very interesting because we don't really have characters that have really seen a whole lot of Vader without being killed or being killed by rebels. So having a first-hand experience and seeing an older First Order trooper to begin with of a guy from the Empire is not something we really see a lot. We had the one character from the Poe Dameron series that showed up in that comic, but this is really cool, seeing an actual stormtrooper with the rest of the First Order armor. Interesting. We also get a new First Order ship, which is fascinating. But seeing how crazy Kylo is, and that is the gist of this entire story, seeing the lengths that Kylo will go to stand up and make a name for himself in front of his troops. This is earlier on in his career with the First Order. So he's trying to be the best that he can be. He's trying to be a new Vader. And well, Vader failed at killing the Zillo beast, but yet Kylo succeeded. So those of the people out there that think Kylo's a bit of a wimp and he's not nothing compared to Vader, well, I mean, Vader couldn't kill this thing, and you know how tough those Zillo beasts are just from watching the Clone Wars. Plus, this thing has done a lot of damage in this specific issue. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sleep on the idea that Kylo Ren is actually very powerful. He's untamed and unhinged, but he is powerful in his own right. So overall, my thoughts on the entire Age of series, they had like a lot of hit or miss type issues that really didn't do a lot of things. But then like the Snoke issue with the destruction of the cave on Dagobah, you had really good stuff recently with Rose and Tico and Paige, and there's lots of cool stories in the Rebellion, especially the prequel ones, the Republic. I really enjoyed the Jango Fett, the Qui-Gon, the Dooku one. So yeah, I think that this is a great idea that Marvel put out. I would like to see them do something similar like an anthology, but that focuses even on lesser known characters, like more of the obscure characters, whereas in this we got all the main heroes and villains. So that would be a great way to expand, the lore of the entire Star Wars galaxy even further. So yeah, I would definitely recommend picking up Kylo Ren issue number 1. And the cool thing is we are getting the Rise of Kylo Ren series being written by Charles Soule and with artwork by the Will Sliney, who also did the Galaxy's Edge comics, which recently came to an end in the artwork, and those are fantastic. So definitely looking forward to that coming out in December. And moving on to the next comic I want to talk about, ties in with the upcoming video game. This is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This is Dark Temple issue number 2, which makes this trapped on Onthotho for the specific issue. So the last thing we've seen in this issue, issue number 1, was we have Cordova, who is the master of Jedi Padawan Cere, who we will see in Jedi Knight Fallen Order the Gate. So they have gone to this planet Onthotho to discover more about this Dark Temple. And this Dark Temple is in the territory of the Phylar, who are the certain sect of people that actually aren't part of the Republic, which the rest of the planet is. So they meet with this Enterprise guy. He's in charge of Da Industries. And he says they have to go to this temple and negotiate with these Phylar people about if they can gain access to this temple. So in the last issue, they are on the transport. They are going there. It gets ambushed, and Cere blacks out. So this issue actually picks up into the future, just like the first issue did, with a emphasis on the character of the second sister, who is also on Onthotho. She is looking for these Jedi that have eluded her, and it turns out she finds a so-called Jedi, but it ends up only being a person just using a lightsaber. She was just like a smuggler or something. She had a gun. Anyway, second sister wiped this person out and wants to know where this Dark Temple is, and that's where that ends. But then we pick up in the past with Cere waking up from being knocked out. She's in this jail cell. She quickly recalls her lightsaber, gets out, finds out that she wasn't in prison because she's a prisoner. She was in prison because it was the safest place for her to be from these other people that have her in the past. And it wasn't these Phylar people, but this entire thing was set up by Da Industries. They wanted to set up this entire thing so that what happens is they're able to get sympathy from the political group of the government that will allow them to actually explore this temple without any interruptions from the Phylar people. So it was all set up. So we figured this out. We have the character of Cere who goes to this Senate place and lets these people know, like, hey, look, these guys planned it against themselves. I gotta go let the Republic, the Jedi Council, know about what's going on here. And it was very much, like, not expected. Like, this makes the story so interesting to me because I think the first issue was pretty dull. There's a lot of dialogue. Whereas this, now we have Cere, she's stuck in between two different factions. She's going to side with the Phylar, which means she's basically an enemy to the state. She's an enemy of the state, which she almost feels like she's in her own Order 66, which this plays into the future of things because she will have experience being a Jedi on the run thanks to what happens in this story. And by the end of this issue, she rallies the people, and now they are about to go to war, the Phylar versus the people of the Da Enterprises, or whatever the recognition of the name is. And that is where the issue leaves off. So first off, I like seeing about the second sister actually taking down this non-Force user, using her deduction to figure out what exactly is going on here. I do like that we have this faction, the Da, who are out for personal gain. They don't care that there's a stipulation where they can't go in a temple because they will exploit it any way they can. We also learned that Cordova apparently died. I don't really buy into this yet. I feel like that's kind of suspicious. I feel like the Da have imprisoned him. It's too important for a Jedi to die like that. This is before the Phantom Menace. So they wouldn't want to get their their hands bloody with the death of a Jedi. So I feel like he's going to come back in the next issue or the issue after that. Overall, we got another cool droid in there as well, and the artwork is just fantastic. This artwork really lends itself well to this overall feel of this story that takes place before the Phantom Menace. Moving on to a story that I always forget we're getting still, and that is Star Wars Target Vader. This is issue number 3. It's called The Trap. So we are following the adventures of Ballard Valance and his rough crew of bounty hunters. They're after Vader. They've been hired by the Hidden Hand to go and take him out because Vader's trying to hunt them down. So they want to get hit to him first. So basically, we follow Vader. The first part of this issue is about his history. So we see him in Imperial Cadet as we've seen him in with the miniseries with Han Solo. We see how he gets damaged and they put him into the Mud Troopers like on Minban. Then we see him actually becoming a Stormtrooper and getting saved by none other than Darth Vader. And this is the same guy he's going to kill, so this really plays into a very interesting story beat because it's like, okay, how does he go from pretty much praising Vader for saving him to absolutely wanting him dead in the best way possible? We will find out, I'm sure, in the next 2 issues. So anyway, we go back to present time and we have Byler Valance and his crew are meeting with this hidden hand person. It's all a trap for Vader. They went there specifically. They learned a little bit about the hidden hand, which is interesting about how elusive they are. How about they'll kill their targets to get other people to buy in. They are really dealing with the rebellion itself. And I just like the way that the rebellion's getting funded. I think that's a very interesting thing. So anyway, Vader comes down. He brings a Star Destroyer. And apparently that they use, the bounty hunters use these drones, these unmanned drones. This dude that looks like Rio Duran, he is the Ardinian guy, part of the group. He's there and he's controlling these drones. We have Vader Valance, who is controlling the Broken Wing, his ship, which is really cool. I don't think we've gotten that name before. I don't know if it's Legends or not, being this was a Legends character. But anyway, he's able to draw the heat from Vader and his TIE fighters for these drones to charge up and take out the Star Destroyer's bridge. I thought that was very interesting. They didn't really explain enough about that for me to really buy into like why this weapon was so powerful against a freaking Star Destroyer. But anyways, we find out that Vader goes down to the surface and he is trying to hunt down Vader Valance, but they are ready for him. They have all these state-of-the-art kind of weapons. I'm not sure what they are. They're like plasma throwers or something, but it's very interesting. And we end this issue with Vader literally in the target sights of Vader Valance. So I'm very much looking forward to that 3rd issue. So getting into it, I really think that it's kind of cool how we have this eclectic group of characters. We have Dengar. We have this person that's not actually a Tusken Raider. So Tusken Raiders, yeah, they cannot leave Tatooine. Like, that is their right. That is what they live for, is Tatooine. So you never find them off planet, which is Vader Valance, who calls this person out that's very, attuned with a sniper rifle. Very good. We've seen in the last issue that this person was taking out TIE fighters with a high caliber type of weapon. So this person does speak basic, says, "May the Force be with us." So if they're a masked character in Star Wars, we all know that, hey, they gotta be somebody we know. So put in your speculation in the comment section down below, because, yeah, it could be literally anybody. It could be Boba Fett for all we know. Who knows? So getting more story on that person was pretty interesting. But overall, this issue, it was pretty good. I think the beginning kind of let it tie down a little bit because I was kind of confused about where we were and all this kind of stuff. But overall, there's a lot of action in this entire story. The entire miniseries so far has been very cool as far as that action from beat to beat to beat. So yeah, we got 2 more issues left of this, and we're going to actually find out what's going on with Vader Valance when we have Star Wars. It's the tie-in that crosses everything into it. Empire Ascending. That's going to be the ending for the Star Wars mainline flagship. It's going to have Vader Valance and Onthotho. It's going to have Dr. Aphra. It's going to be really a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that one as well. And moving on to IDW for Star Wars Adventures, we have issue number 26. This issue has 2 stories, one about Luke Skywalker, the other one about Tallie Lintra. So the Luke Skywalker one is titled Life Lessons. We are on Ahch-To, Rey, Chewie, we have Luke, and what's happening is Luke is training Rey, and next thing you know, she uses the Force to move this rock, and it disturbs this big sea creature that's just causing havoc and everything. They find out it's because one of the Porgs actually got one of its babies. So once they got the Porg, they got the baby, put it back, and moved the stone. Everything was fine again. In the meantime, we have Luke working with Chewie, which is great to see, because in The Last Jedi, we didn't get enough of that Chewie and that Luke relationship. Plus, we see Luke doing something heroic. Other than that, it was a pretty straightforward story, pretty decent. And moving on to that Tallie Lintra story, it's titled Alone in the Dark. This is one of my favorite side characters from The Last Jedi. She has so much hope, so much promise, and she gets killed in Kylo Ren's blast on the Rash. So we see where she is before this, obviously, and she's part of Blue Squadron. She's the leader of Blue Squadron. They are flying in this area of space, doing training missions where they find this sector that is pretty much like off limits. The sensors go all crazy. They find out there's a distress signal. She goes to investigate. She can't see anything on her sensors. She finds this guy, and he ends up getting saved by her because she follows her vapor trails from her A-Wing to get her and that guy out of there. And that's pretty much the story in a nutshell. Like I said, it's cool to see Tallie Lintra, especially on foot. At one point, she gets out of her A-Wing to walk around and try to find who needs help. So overall, this was a decent story for Star Wars Adventures, but what I'm really looking forward to next is Star Wars Adventures number 27, 28, and 29, which will reflect on the sequel trilogy, namely in between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, with this story about Kashyyyk and Chewbacca. So Kashyyyk's always in trouble, right? They were occupied by the Separatists and the Empire. Then they're going to be occupied by First Order, so those Wookiees cannot catch a break. So next week we can look forward to Starrapter issue number 37, Star Wars issue number 72, and a brand new series, The Return to Vader's Castle, issue number 1 from IDW. So what did you guys think about all the new comics that came out this week? Which one was your favorite? Let's talk about it in the comment section down below. So this week's very busy for Star Wars games. As of recording this today, we have a brand new update for Battlefront 2. It contains Felucia, we get the Clone Commando, we get the instant action single player bots mode. We also get the co-op mode. So lots to really see and do. I actually have a video of the instant action me playing Clone Commando on Felucia. Make sure you check that out. Also, we have now available Star Wars Vader Immortal episode number 2. So I will definitely be playing that as soon as I'm done with this video. I'm going to get a review out to you guys ASAP. So that's going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel if you like Star Wars, because I talk about it a heck of a lot and you might enjoy that. That is going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.